We now go right to the gentleman from California. What does the hat say, Eric?
Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Of course. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. And I'll get to AI in a moment, but I'm not going to miss the opportunity to ask my colleagues, the proponents of free speech across the aisle and the champions who sit with me, to condemn in the harshest terms what is happening right now from our administration. The second late-night comedian has been taken off the air because the president did not like a joke. I want to first condemn in the harshest tones the murder of Charlie Kirk. He should be with his family right now. He should be with his children. He should be alive. He had a right to say what he wanted to say to who he wanted to say without any physical violence being brought his way. And Jimmy Kimmel had a right to say what he said, which didn't in any way suggest that somebody in the MAGA world had been responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk. He was just pointing out what folks online were doing as Twitter detectives before any investigation had been completed were saying about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then he pointed out that Donald Trump, who did not go to Kirk's memorial service at the Kennedy Center over the weekend, when he was asked how he was feeling about the assassination, did not address it, but rather went right to a construction project. And for that, Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. That's not who we are. That's what it looks like in China. That's what it looks like in Russia. That can't be what it looks like in America. And the foundation of this, the genesis of this, was the president's FCC chairperson, Brandon Carr, sending a tweet that said, essentially, and giving an interview to a podcaster where he said, essentially, if ABC doesn't want to do this the easy way and suspend Jimmy Kimmel, we will do it the hard way, and it would be government censorship. Maybe I was not loud enough in the past when Republicans spoke out against government censorship, and if that's the case, I will go back and revisit whether I could have been louder. But that does not mean that today Republicans are silent just in an effort to own the libs. If you didn't like cancel culture when you thought it was happening in prior administrations, you certainly can't look at what just happened in our country and accept that that is something we should live with and we should tolerate. So I want to make it clear, there's going to be a Democratic majority in just over a year. And to the FCC chairperson and anyone involved in these dirty deals, get a lawyer and save your records, because you're going to be in this room and you're going to be answering questions about the deals that you struck and who benefited and what the cost was to the American people because that happened. I want to now move, Chairman, and I appreciate you holding this hearing, to AI and ask our witnesses first, and I'll start with Professor Richards. Professor Richards, what is the risk to the country if, particularly to children, if the government does absolutely zero on AI as far as legislation, as far as what they see, privacy that's taken, biases that are reinforced? What do you see the risk could be?
Thank you, Congressman. There are a number of risks. Some of them are known and some of them are unknown, which I think is why it's essential to preserve regulatory flexibility by the states as well as the federal government to deal with these questions. We've already discussed at some length, but perhaps we can't discuss it enough, the losses that the parents who are seated behind me have suffered. When we have in some cases, the reckless or the rash deployment of software agents in children's lives. There was discussions about telling them about Santa, but they've done much, much worse. That's one of the risks, exacerbating the mental health epidemic. There are risks to children in schools. Children don't read books anymore because of AI models. States should be able to address that pedagogically with particular consequences for our critical thinking skills that are necessary for our democracy.
Thank you. And also, Mr. Thayer, I just want to, just coming from another meeting, I want to thank you for your remarks earlier about the FCC chair and his hypocrisy about censorship. With that, Chair, I'll yield back.
But the gentleman yield for
Yes.
a second. As often happens, there's a nuance of total agreement here, and I just want to speak well of your championing free speech. And perhaps those who leave broadcast, like our mutual friend Bill Maher, might find an even greater place, an even greater amount. I do agree with you that we need to continue to promote free speech, and your kind words related both in defense of one, but also on Charlie Kirk is very much appreciated. And I look forward to continue to work with you.
You and I have worked on a lot of issues, and I think this is one we can work on as well. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chair.
Appreciate it.